Good day, everyone. Today we are actually going to be doing another data manipulation using Python, but this time around from a SQL database, specifically mySQL. So remember in the previous video, we actually imported the CSV document from Google Drive using the URL and this particular format. Get the data set. So this time around, we are actually going to be importing data from SQL. So I have actually created my SQL database, which is name of database is my workbench, and the name of the table is financials. So I have actually made so I actually did a raw import from basically converted Excel workbook called financials, and I converted it to CSV, then uploaded it to mySQL. So this is basically what I did. So when I converted it to CSV, the dollar sign was there, but the date is not rightly set. So you're having all of this data already there, and basically what this is supposed to look like is $3, but it's a float basically. However, when I converted it to CSV, the dollar sign went with it as well. So I then made the data types for so the initial data types I made for the manufacturing price was float because it was money. But when I try uploading importing the data set into the financials table, was throwing an error, so I had to convert everything to a variable character inclusive of the date column. So now I want to actually import them into my Python, and using a library for SQL called sqlalchemy. So the name is sqlalchemy, and so basically I'll do the first thing, which is import pandas as cd, and so you can actually install your sqlalchemy by going to your environment, going to your base if you don't have it. So just look for sqlalchemy in your installed. Now I already have mine here. But if you don't have it, you just go to, you don't see it in your install, you go to not installed and you search for it. And so basically what you're going to see is this is what you're looking for, sqlalchemy, or you can check the documentation for doing pip install on online. So let me see. So you could say under install sqlalchemy, and very sure you're actually going to get some useful information you can actually use to install sqlalchemy, or you can do it from the Anaconda navigator. So either one is fine. So I've already installed it, so I'm going to say from. If I say SQ and I press tab, it's going to show me, give me some options. So SQL Alchemy, import, create engine. So I think it's so create engine. I run it. Now I'm going to give a variable called engine, and I'm going to set it to create engine. So I'll call this particular function create engine, and basically it's going to take so I installed two particular libraries for this, for SQL Alchemy and Pi SQL. I think it's Pi MySQL. Yeah, so Pi MySQL for MySQL driver. So it's a it's basically a SQL driver that Python actually supports. So I'm going to the first thing I'm going to do is to say MySQL, and I'll now say plus Pi MySQL, which is a library. Then think a a hyphen, and then I'm going to say so to now be okay, double forward slash, yeah, so it will be double forward slash the username, then the password, then the host name or the server name. So your host name or your server name, then forward slash, then the database or the database name. Basically this is how you are going to put it, and you are going to actually put it in a string. Now oh, so sorry, after the host there is the port number. So the port number sorry, excuse me. So then forward slash um forward slash, then the database name. Now already if I go to my SQL, I already have my, when I go to the home, I already have my username to be root, localhost to be the host name, and the port number is 330806. That will be my port number. Yours might be a little bit different, so you should check. And I'm not going to set a variable for them. I can either hard code and put them here, but because this actually supposed to be secret, you are not supposed to share it with anybody. So what I'm going to do is to create for this intended purpose, I'm going to create actually create a new file. I'll just say credential. So I'll say MySQL cred.py, and I'm going to create my my username. Again, it is root. My password, which I'm going to hide from everyone else. The database name, I can just say db name, db underscore name, which is workbench. Then my host, which is localhost. My port number is this. What else? Yeah, so I'm basically done. So I'm going to actually pause this video and come back when I've actually entered my password. So I'm done entering my password in my Python file that I have here, and so I'm then going to, now this Python is, I want to access the data in this Python file. So this Python has now become a library to, or a module to this my Python file I want to use it in, which is basically Anaconda notebook. So I can then say from my, so you can see it, mySQL cred import, so I can say username, I would say password, I would say so if I say p, I'll see port. So what do I have again? I think I have db name, then yeah, so I have host h and host. So I'm done importing it. Now for me to actually use it here, I'm going to put a f string. I'm going to use a f string. So this f string will enable me actually enter variables here. And so I'm just going to put a curly braces, so I'll be able to dynamically use variables here. And so you don't get to see my credentials basically. So this is db name, so I'll just use a curly braces. I'll just say db, and I'm going to end it with curly braces. I'll run it now. In order for me to, I'm going to create a query. Now what is my query? My query will be, I want to access everything in the data. So you can create a double quotation mark, double quotation 3 times. This enables me run multiple comments or line, and going to be part of the query. So what I want to do is to say select all from, remember the name of my table is financials. I'll run it. It didn't show anything because as far as I'm concerned, the query is just another variable. If I go to my my workbench, and you can see sorry, excuse me, the name of my the name of my table is financials, and this is just what I wanted to run as the query. So it should just give me everything, every table here. So when I'm done, I will then create another variable to properly take in my engine variable as well as my query variable, and it will store it in a data frame. So I can just give a variable called df. I'll then say is equal to pd dot read. Now this time is SQL, so I'll say underscore s SQL. Now this is going to take two parameters. So there's the query parameter that it's going to take. So I can say query, and then say then my engine that it's going to take. And when I run it, there's no error. And if I just say df.head, I then get access to my data set basically. Okay, so I can then say df.info just to see if, so I have about thank god I don't have any null value. I have 700 rows of data. Now the segment which contains government, and those are truly objects. They are text. The country are text. The product name are actually text. The discount banner text. But for the unit sold, it's integer, which is rightly so. It's not float because it's unit sold, so it's a factor of 1. Now you see my manufacturing price, sales price, gross sales, discount, sales, cost of goods sold, profit, and date. All of them are actually object, and that is not what I want. Now the reason why they are actually object is because of the dollar sign here. So Python I actually got it from sorry, excuse me, from SQL, and Python regard um, the data from SQL as the data type it assigned to it in SQL. So what we want to do is we want to actually start doing some manipulation. So for instance, there's the United States of America in country. So I'll do a filter. I'll say df.country equal United States of America. I think it's State of America. So I get a false, but I get a true here. Now, in order for me to add this my filter, I'll say give me so basically I'm just saying that the column country in my df data frame, just go through it and give me, does this cell is equal to the United States of America? It will say no, which is false. Like that, it will now loop through every cell in that particular country column. So in order for me to get specifically where get the data frame for where the United States value is in my data frame, I can just say df, and I will now encompass this my filter, and I'm going to run it. So you can then see every cell that in the country column that is United States of America, and so we have about 140 rows now. What I want to do is just to replace this United States with USA. So what I can then do is say df.country equal df country. Now the reason why I'm using this, both the dot, then call the name of the column, and using a square bracket and putting the name of the column in an inverted comma, is because I want you to know that you can use either one to call that column. I'll now say dot replace. What am I replacing? I'm replacing United States of America, States of America, with just plain old USA. Now if I run it and I now say df dot head, for instance, or I'll just say df, I can then see that you might not see any noticeable change, but if you look at the last row, USA, so it's supposed to be United States before, now it's now USA. So that is one thing I want to do. The other thing I also want to do is to convert the segment into capital letter. For me to do that, I will have to just segment it and say df dot segment, just so I can get that. And so if I say dot upper, I don't think it's gonna do anything, because it's going to give me an error, because Pandas series do not have any functionality or attribute called upper. So what I'm going to do through is to actually loop through I'm going to loop through this particular series. I can then say for I in this, I'll just say print I, right? So it's going to give me like so it's basically, so if I say print I dot upper, so I've basically turned it into as if I'm going through a list and I'm going one by after the other. So so I can then say print I dot upper. So you can then see, so I'm going to convert this into a list comprehension and put it and make it the new value of my country column, my segment column. So this will be converted into a list comprehension. How do I do that? I'll say df dot segment equal to, and I'll now create a list. I'll say give me I dot upper. So this I dot upper, which is the value I want it to be, the first place. I'll now say for I in df dot segment, right? So I'll now put it in a list, and I will now run it. I'm not going to get anything. However, I'm now saying that this particular for loop that I now did is now the new value of the my segment column, right? So when I say df now, I run it, and you can then see it has converted it into a capital letter. Each of the values in the segment column is now capital letter. So now I'm concerned about the manufacturing price as well as the sales. I want to replace this dollar sign with nothing. So I think I can do it one by one. I would say df dot manufacturing. This manufacturing price is equal to df. I'll say you can either use a single quotation or double quotation. I'll say dot replace. And what am I replacing? Sorry, excuse me. I'm replacing the dollar sign with nothing. I'm not going to put a space. I'm just replacing it with nothing, and I'm going to run it. I'm not going to get anything, but when I go to run, I print out my data frame. Oh, this is interesting. Well, it's still there. I'm just going to restart and run my cells again and see. Oh, so I think it is still there. I wonder why. What is happening? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I think I should say dot str dot string dot replace. I don't know. It's gonna work. Oh yeah, it does work. So so I'll convert it into a string, and I would do dot replace because actually it's an object. So I think that's what I was supposed to do. So I think I'm just going to restart my kernel. Remember that. Sorry, excuse me. When I did df.info, my manufacturing price was basically an object. So more like a string or a pandas object. I just converted it into a string. So I tried doing it without the string. It didn't work, and so I now did inclusive of the string, and it does work. So I'm going to replace the sales price. I think so. I have my sales price. I'm also going to remove the dollar sales, the sales price dot str. So again, it's an object. So dot replace. Let's see. Now see, remove dollar sign, replace it with nothing, and I'll run it. I get nothing. I run my data frame, print out my data frame, you can see basically done for that. So I would do for the rest. Yeah, so again, I'm going to copy it and put it in one place, in one cell. And I'm basically just going to do for grow sales discount, like that. Oh, sorry, I'll say, I think alt shift and down is going to create new, copy the code, and recreate it for me. So I'm just going to do gross sales. Next one will just be discount, and next one is going to just be sales, I think. Yeah, so sales, and next one is just going to be cost of sales. Profit, yeah, it's gonna be profit. Also, I'm going to convert that of the date to uh, so to actual date time. So I'm going to do that of the date to what date time. And so in order for me to do that, I'll just say pd.to underscore date, date time. So it will be pd.to date time, and I'll now put my df dot date. Interesting. And I think I'm fine now. If I then do df dot head, okay, so what was happening? Oh yeah, so everything has appeared now. You can see my date is formatted properly. If I do df dot info, I can then see my date is date time. Now it's still object, but I can actually play with it now. But the one thing I also want to do is I want to remove this sign here, right? This sign. So I'm going to say for the discount, I want to do another replacement. I want to say, if you see this, just don't put anything for the discount. I'm literally going to restart my kernel again and run all the cells, and let's see what's going to be the output. So for manufacturing price, let's see the discount. Yeah, so if I go to, oh sorry, apologies, if I go to the discount, I think I'll have some null. What's happening? This is interesting. I think, yeah, I'll have some null values. So I'm still that saying that, okay, there's no null value, which is fine. I'm then going to convert my manufacturing price, all of those things. I'm going to convert them back to so everything from here, I would convert it into a float. So I'm just going to say so I'll say dot as type, and I'll just say float. So let me just comment on this and see if it worked or not. So I didn't get any error. I'll run it and you can see it has converted to float for me. Okay, so I will do the same for almost everything. So I'll just copy this because I am lazy. Just paste, paste, and you can actually do this one time, right? So I can just remove the, I'll uncomment and just copy, go to my notepad, because like I said, I'm quite lazy. Yeah, so I'm quite lazy. I'm just gonna paste this. I would say Control H, which is um mm, find and replace. Control C. Well, I just want to replace it with this, whatever it is I'm looking for, and what I'm looking for is this. Control C and Control V, and I'll just say replace all. I can see that's helped me replace everything, so I can then just copy, come back here, and just, and that's like extremely lazy. And then I'm going to run it, and I think I'm just going to restart my kernel again. So it's loading. If you look at it up here, it's loading. What errors did I get? Oh, so you see this comma is actually a problem. I think I also have to remove the commas as well. And if you look at it, for gross sales, you have the comma there. Since it's still an object, it's a problem. So I think what I was supposed to do is also say gross sales. I will do, mm, so basically, let me show you guys one neat trick to remove everything at once, because the replace can only replace one at a time. So one other thing I can do is to say, now the place we see comma are from gross sales, discount, sales, cost of sales, and profit. For sales price, it's small, so you may not necessarily see comma. So I'm going to just target gross sales, discount sales, cost of sales, like that. So I would create, so instead of me having to do them one after the other, I'm going to create a dictionary, and I'll say list of things to replace. I'll just say replace. I would create a dictionary, and I would say the dictionary will be, so for the dollar sign, replace it with nothing. For the comma sign, also replace it with nothing. I don't need dot. So I think basically this is what I want to do. Then from sales, from gross sales down all the way to, oh, so I can then do for this minus as well. So if there's a minus, this let's say dash, then replace it with nothing. Then I can then do from, actually I can do for everything. Not for the date time though. I can then go to my paste this here, then again I am quite lazy. I would say uh, do I comma j. Basically, that's what I want to do. I'll say replace all. And that's replaced all for me, except for the discount part. So I will just come copy everything, paste. I would remove the first discount because I don't need it again. I now have a list of things I want to remove. Then I can then say for I comma j in replace dot items, right? Then I will then say I'm gonna put everything in from here to here. I'll put it in my list, in my for loop. Oh, Control Z. So basically this is what I'm going to do, and I would restart my kernel and run all the cells again, and hopefully this time should give me it shouldn't give me an error. I don't think it should give me an error, but again, let's just wait and see. Okay, so it's saying that oh, so I made a mistake for this replace. I'm supposed to say colon. I'm just gonna run this again. So it's gonna be hmm, interesting. It didn't give me. I was expecting an error, frankly. Then I can then run this. I don't need to do this replace again. Actually, I'll run it and go to no errors. So you can then see manufacturing price, sales, this discount. Why didn't you change to? Well, that is weird. Let me restart and run kernel again. It's all of these things are supposed to give me uh load, unless if there is some problem I'm not seeing. So let everything run and let's see the response again. So I think there are some. Oh, so I think I have like interesting. Hmm, I should see where the issue is. Hmm. Okay, so I think the discount is the one that is having an issue for now. But I'm going to um hmm, okay. I think this I'll put, instead of having to do this, I might just put 0. Yeah, I'm gonna restart my kernel and run again. Hopefully, let me see what's gonna happen. Um, hmm, what errors did I get? Okay, must be a string or callable. So I'm going to put 0 with um with, yeah, so something like this. I would run it again. Let's see. Oh, no error. Let me run this. Hopefully it doesn't give me an error, or it might. Okay, so I'm having issues in the profit. What is the issue? Oh, I'm having a negative. Okay, that is cool. Huh. uh let me see. So I would have to go back here again and add um um so I'm going to be looking for bracket, open bracket, close. and I'm going to restart and run my kernel again, because there's like a bracket open bracket close which signifies negative. um